Saint Augustine, commentary on Psalm 125, following. For the Lord will not leave the rod of the ungodly upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto wickedness. Verse 3. At present, indeed, the righteous suffer in some measure, and at present the unrighteous sometimes tyrannize over the righteous. In what ways? Sometimes the unrighteous arrive at worldly honors, when they have arrived at them and have been made either judges or kings, for God does this for the discipline of his folk, for the discipline of his people. The honor due to their power must needs be shown them, for thus has God ordained his church, that every power ordained in the world may have honor, and sometimes from those who are better than those in power. For the sake of illustration, I take one instance, hence calculate the grades of all powers. The primary and everyday relation of authority between man and man, is that between master and slave. Almost all houses have a power of this sort. There are masters, there are also slaves. These are different names, but men and men are equal names. And what says the apostle, teaching that slaves are subject to their masters? Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, for there is a master according to the Spirit. He is the true and everlasting master, but those temporal masters are for a time only. When you walk in the way, when you live in this life, Christ does not wish to make you proud. It has been your lot to become a Christian and to have a man for your master. You were not made a Christian that you may disdain to be a servant. For when by Christ's command you serve a man, you serve not the man but him who commanded you. He says this also, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh. Ephesians 6:5. Behold, he has not made men free from being servants, but good servants from bad servants. How much do the rich owe to Christ, who orders their house for them, so that if you have had an unbelieving servant, suppose Christ convert him and say not to him, leave your master, you have now known him who is your true master. He perhaps is ungodly and unjust. You are now faithful and righteous. It is unworthy that a righteous and faithful man should serve an unjust and unbelieving master. He spoke not thus unto him, but rather serve him, and to confirm the servant added, serve as I served. I before you served the unjust. If the Lord of heaven and earth, through whom all things were created, served the unworthy, asked mercy for his furious persecutors, and as it were, showed himself as their physician at his advent, for physicians also better both in art and health serve the sick. How much more ought not a man to disdain with his whole mind and his whole goodwill, with his whole love to serve even a bad master? Behold, a better serves an inferior, but for a season. Understand what I have said of the master and slave, to be true also of powers and kings, of all the exalted stations of this world. For sometimes they are good powers and fear God, sometimes they fear not God. Julian was an infidel emperor, an apostate, a wicked man, an idolater. Christian soldiers served an infidel emperor. When they came to the cause of Christ, they acknowledged him only who was in heaven. If he called upon them at any time to worship idols, to offer incense, they preferred God to him. But whenever he commanded them to deploy into line to march against this or that nation, they at once obeyed. They distinguished their everlasting from their temporal master, and yet they were, for the sake of their everlasting master, submissive to their temporal master. But will it be thus always, that the ungodly have power of the righteous? It will not be so. The rod of the ungodly is felt for a season upon the lot of the righteous, but it is not left there. It will not be there forever. A time will come when Christ, appearing in his glory, shall gather all nations before him. Matthew chapter 25, verse 32 and 33. And you will see there many slaves among the sheep, and many masters among the goats. And again many masters among the sheep, many slaves among the goats. For all slaves are not good. Do not infer this from the consolation we have given to servants, nor are all masters evil, because we have thus repressed the pride of masters. There are good masters who believe, and they are evil. There are good servants who believe, and there are evil. But as long as good servants serve evil masters, let them endure for a season. For God will not leave the rod of the ungodly upon the lot of the righteous. Why will he not? Lest the righteous put forth their hand unto wickedness, that the righteous may endure for a season the domination of the ungodly, and may understand that this is not forever, but may prepare themselves to possess their everlasting heritage. And he therefore adds, Do well, O Lord, unto those that are good and true of heart. Verse 4. They who are right in heart, of whom I was speaking a little before, they who follow the will of God, not their own will. Reflect upon this. But they who wish to follow God allow him to go before, and themselves to follow, not themselves to go before, and him to follow. And in all things they find him good, whether chastening, or consoling, or exercising, or crowning, or cleansing, or enlightening. As the Apostle says, we know all things work together for good to them that love God. Matthew 8:28. Whence the psalmist at once adds, As for such as turn aside, the Lord shall lead them forth unto strangling with the workers of unrighteousness. Verse 5. That is, those whose deeds they have imitated, because they took delight in their present pleasures and did not believe in their punishments to come. What then shall they have who are righteous in heart and who turn not back? Let us now come to the heritage itself, brethren, for we are sons. What shall we possess? What is our heritage? What is our country? What is it called? Peace. In this we salute you, this we announce to you, this the mountains receive, and the little hills receive as righteousness. Psalm 72, verse 3. Peace is Christ, For he is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of partition between us. Ephesians 2:14. Since we are sons, we shall have an inheritance. And what shall this inheritance be called but peace? And consider that they who love not peace are disinherited. Now they who divide unity love not peace. Peace is the possession of the pious, the possession of heirs. And who are heirs? Sons. Since then Christ the Son of God is peace, he therefore came to gather together his own and to separate them from the wicked. From what wicked men? From those who hate Jerusalem, who hate peace, who wish to tear unity asunder, who believe not peace, who preach a false peace to the people and have it not. To whom answer is made when they say, Peace be with you and with your spirit. But they speak falsely and they hear falsely. And to whom do they say, Peace be with you? To those whom they separate from the peace of the whole earth. And unto whom is it said, and with your spirit? To those who embrace dissensions and who hate peace. For if peace were in their spirit, would they not love unity and leave dissensions? Speaking then false words, they hear false words. Let us speak true words and hear true words. Let us be Israel, and let us embrace peace. For Jerusalem is a vision of peace, and we are Israel, and peace is upon Israel.